hear my voice? So, good evening, everybody. I am coming to speak to you for about security observations, and we have been had really interesting campaign with a couple public organization, and I'm coming from company called BadRap. And yeah, this is really exciting. I have done a lot of presentations, but not so much in English or not even on cybersecurity, because I have been speaking a lot about youth, how youth can make impact and entrepreneurship. Yeah, about myself. For first, my name is Juho Räsänen. There is my handles where you can find me. And yeah, I come from eastern part of Finland. I have landed here to study computer science at University of Helsinki, where I'm doing my bachelor studies right now. And I am really active on different student communication and at one foundation, and we are providing student housing and etc. It's really funny that I'm working for cybersecurity daily, then I'm studying computer science, which is a little bit different than cybersecurity. And on the other hand, I am building a new apartment for students. So there's a really huge scale what I'm doing daily basis. But from first slide, we did have this from, to, and what. So you can raise your hand up if you could believe that you're sending this kind of reports. You're maybe bug bounty hunter or student or anybody. So we can see how many people here is sending truly the messages for companies. Really? There is not any bug bounty hunters here? Okay.
The bug bounty is not high enough. Like 20k euros is like no money at all in the Bay Area at least.
Okay, I understand. Okay. How many of you would be receiving these kind of messages? Okay, now we are getting hands. So we don't have any hackers here, but we have people who get the messages from the hackers. And is anybody working in cybersecurity here? Okay, kind of. Then this is a good place to start. So the campaign name was Ketjutonttu. It's in Finnish. It's basically chain elf, if you would translate that on roughly. It was founded by National Emergency Supply Agency, Huoltovarmuuskeskus, and also the Traficom National Cyber Security Center was part of it, and we did have like weekly meetings, and in case we did want to take contact to some vendor, and we didn't find any great contact because they were public one, we did cheat a little bit and take contact to Traficom people. And then there's BadRap, where I'm coming from. We have 5 people. It's all-based startup founded in 2017. And what was Ketjutonttu? I haven't told that to you yet. What we did was we did scan critical vendors from plus 150 companies who participated in this campaign. So idea was to scan a lot of vendors, and if we found something, take the contact to vendor and see how they would react that we are taking contact to them. The vendors didn't know that we are doing this kind of light penetration testing for them. And the idea was to get risk analyzed, how much you can trust that vendor that in case of need, you will get the help from cybersecurity side, from that company. And especially how easy it is to contact different companies and organizations, because you can imagine that there is wide range of different different reaction from companies. But in the numbers, 150 plus organization did take the part on Ketjutonttu from business side and from the public side. And they did this for 2,300 vendors. They're basically from their critical vendors who can handle their critical data based on from their customer, based about the employees and about the company. And then let's go straight into critics. what we have found. This is not part of my main part of this presentation is the reaction what we have get, but you can see the numbers. Like the most of one, we didn't find anything, and anything what we would like to send message for them, or we just didn't find anything. But roughly from 1/3, you can get really good impact from the vendor. That if there's some kind of issue, they will react that soon and fix it. Also, there's 1/3 that they will not take. They can take the issues and observations seriously, but more likely it will take the time from them to react and fix the observations. And then there is the group who doesn't make any kind of reaction. More likely, we haven't reached them pretty good way because we have sent like hundreds of emails in this campaign. Or they just don't care. There can be broken IT, so it's also pretty common. So what we have scanned, the idea here was not to find like the most advanced vulnerabilities on different companies or observations, and we started from seed. It was basically IP or domain of the vendor. From there we have scanned name servers and get information from different sources like certification, transparency, and from there we can get the assets of the company, domains, subdomains, IPs. And for that we scan those and can find a bunch of different open services and misconfigured services, outdated servers, subdomain takeover risks. That was mostly what we were looking for. We also do get information from different internet service providers, how they're using their office IPs, if they have that IP on their name servers, for example. But in this campaign, we did get a lot of questions from vendors and also from participants who take the part on this campaign. Can we deliver more advanced vulnerabilities? But we need to do it in a scale because we have just 4 people doing this campaign, and we have like 3 meetings with every participant, and then we use also the time to check what we have found or automation have found, then find the address where we can deliver that information for the vendor, and then maybe we need to even help the vendor because the scale of participants is like from small companies to big ones, and also the scale of critical vendors is from small companies to big companies. And small companies doesn't maybe have so much resources, so we have been also helped them from hand to hand. And the interesting part is how you can take the contact on different vendors. It's really hard, actually. First, because there is most of them have email addresses where you can contact them on some other way. But it can be like anything. It can be like data privacy officer email, or it can be like abuse email or customer service email or ID address, or it can be cybersecurity center address in best case scenario. But that doesn't mean that they will respond. When we did find something from vendor, first we did check the security.txt because it's like standard which is proposed actually currently. So if we didn't find any security.txt, then we check the website. If there's any kind of information like, hey, if you find something, please post it here. But I have to say, most of the times that doesn't exist. It exists on big companies, but mostly no. Okay, if we don't find any other formal way, then we go to check privacy policy, because most of the times there's a person who can respond for that, but most of the time that wasn't good lead. Expect that we find some emails to send information. And for the second last was taking contact the customer service. But yeah, that's for customers. So most of the times, if you can get through, they don't know what they're doing because they are not have told what they should do in this kind of situations. And for last and the least is contacting the sales. It's like the first case scenario that you have found something from the company, and because they're so sales driven, you have to contact the sales, like, hey, I booked this meeting and I have these things for you. I know you wanna sell me something, but I don't wanna buy. I am just giving new task for you. And also the big thing what we notice on this campaign, like if there's this kind of DBO at example.com, which come from data privacy officer or something abuse or admin or like whatever, the emails don't work. It just give feedback like this address doesn't exist. And it's really interesting, and I guess the reason for that is like they're copying each other privacy policies, etc. And they're not really checking what is there. They're just saying, okay, all the company names are now our names, so this is good. But it's not, address doesn't found, so it's odd. Yeah.
So I had a similar issue. I attached a text file and tried to send it to my girlfriend to Google, but it bounced. So
Yeah.
like when you send specific files to email addresses, does that sometimes have a similar sort of issue, or does it flag the same error?
Yeah, it depends. It's in this case how it comes back. But about the security XT, we did find 7% from 2030 vendors did have security XT. Of course, that's not there's all the vendors which provided, but we didn't contact all 2,300. We just contacted roughly 300 vendors. But that's number what we found. And remember, this is from other research, what there have been done for security XT. This is pretty high number, because normally it's like 1 to 2%. And the reason why this is 7% is because these are critical vendors which mostly work on customer data business and etc. And for those who doesn't know what security XT is, this is security XT of BadRap. And what you can enter here is like how you can contact our company, what languages we prefer. There can be also like public keys, like please send us these emails secured, because email is not secure by default. And also a little bit about time zones. There can be hiring links or bug bounty links or basically anything. And how many of you know that the company where are you working is they're using security XT, or you have the other way to contact your company, like official way to contact about cybersecurity issues? Okay, nice. So I can see here that we have almost that many people working in cybersecurity, that how many organizations they have way to contact in. So yeah. But this is a big challenge for the future, because everybody is getting so independent from everybody else. About the messages, what we did send through this campaign, we didn't send any automated messages, because they don't go through, people doesn't read it. They think that you're a bot or some kind of scammer or anything else. Even though I am not asking about their credit card number or home address, I am telling technical facts about their servers and services. It's really odd, like how many calls I have got, like, yeah, I was first thinking this is scam, but then I googled this BadRap or GetYouDon't or anything else, and now I can see this is really thing. So it's really, really odd how people impact these kind of messages. But before automated generated messages, where was the observation what we have done, we did put handwritten notice a little bit shortly what we are doing and have we found anything else. Because when automation have made observation from vendor, the human made the last decisions and also make the last scanning and stuff for the vendor before sending the message. And there's a couple of examples what kind of messages I have changed through this campaign. Like we have actually found a few of these casino websites running behind the companies. And it's really odd that they have running casinos, even though they're working in Finland, and we know there is just 2 casino sites here, and still they have their own. And also, I added this image about their casino site, that hey, this is really thing. And it's really odd that these companies really did react to it. They removed the subdomain record as fast as they can, like less than 24 hours. But then I was hoping, because I can see that I have contacted this company, what I have told them and about this subdomain, and still I am like waiting, thank you or something. Weeks go, couple of weeks, and then I sent message. Hi, thank you, and good work, and I have noticed that you have removed subdomain. Still nothing. I don't know why, because they have clearly read my message, because the subdomain was removed instantly, but maybe it's just like, if we don't thank you, it doesn't never happened or something. I don't know. I don't know, but it can be. Then there's also these cases where you send message, they doesn't react anything. It takes 1 month, you send another one. Yeah, this thing is still like live, and you should react on these things. And then they say, oh, well, that's okay, we don't use that server anymore. like we don't have anything to lose there. Thanks. Then you're, okay, you can take it down then if you don't use it anymore. No, just in case we need it, we don't want to shut it down. And this is like really issue, because they can have like, it's not maybe the latest customer data and information or something, but clearly there is something but they want to get access in case of something happens. But of course, there's a lot of good things. Like most of the vendors who we did conduct did really reply to us and make good things. And yeah, here is like things happens fast. Even we can get some kind of meet reports and reports from, yeah, we have done everything else. And sometimes we have got 5 recommendations, like recognitions from our work. And there's common logos there and some uncommon. And yeah, remember that the work what you are doing for vendors, and when you're making these operations for companies, and you can go to, I haven't made this up, you can go to these company Hall of Fames and check those out. And your work will be appreciated from all over the world. Even though it is really a bit odd. But yeah, my message here that my time is valuable, like yours too. You don't want to spend your time hitting your head on the table that the data privacy officer doesn't have the email address where you're sending these emails. And it would be really nice to be sure that my messages go through. And here I have made some, listed some things which we discussed on our group at Patrap. And yeah, email really easy to use. There is hardly any limits. But the spam filters, they are like everywhere. Even though that they can have like this security at company.com email, they have filters there. And in couple of times, there have been happening that we have sent like 5 messages to this company. They haven't responded anything. Then we tell this, because our last chance is to tell these things to the participant. Normally in this campaign, we didn't tell like organization taking part of this, that what we have found from their vendors. But in case they didn't react anything, and like the things is really seriously still going on, we are giving this information for the participating organization, and they are contacting from their vendor. And in that case, most of the times, things start happen. I don't know why, why they don't take message from me so seriously, but when their customer takes contact with them, then things start happen. But I think it's really odd reactions, and most of the times it's because spam filters, example, when you're sending emails. Of course, I understand if the company is global, it's huge sized, there can be like hundreds or more like not thousands, but can be hundreds messages daily, which are really seriously taken. Okay, then there's form. This is good plan, but it can go wrong. Of course, form is good because you can make it secure by default, because we are more likely speaking about sensitive data, which you don't want to know, everybody know in your company, or any outsider especially. And they definitely go through, because I can see when I'm sending that message that the CAPTCHA failed, and I can try again. But it takes more time, because most of the time there is no any like formal form. Like you don't know what you will need to input in there, and that way it takes more time, because they can be complex. Because a couple of times when you are sending observation for the company, and there's like, okay, could you please fill the CVA number here? And we have these 10 rules what you need to follow, and this 20-page long documentation what we want you to write down here. And I'm like, I don't have a dime for this. And I have 10 more to send today. And that comes to over-complexity. And more likely, the form has some limits. Once I was sending like 8 or 12 subdomain takeover risks for the vendor, and in their form they did have like 200 character limit. How you think I am going to fill like more than 10 domains which are used in backend, which has already like 15 character each on that form, and also fill my own information there, like, and I'm sending a message like, hey, I have found something interesting from your system. Here's my phone number and email, and please contact me. They will never contact me back. But like, form is good option, but it's not like the best option what you have. So I have one more, which I like really much. I have mentioned that already. And it is contacting with sales. You know, it's most humane way I can see the reaction of the salesperson when person has already talked like more than 15 minutes for me about their new and great service and how good they are, etc. And then I'm not buying here. I want to tell you something, and then you see the reaction, and it's instant feedback. It's not, they can't ignore it because the person can't just jump out from that meeting. But in first case scenario, they can freeze. The salesperson can freeze, and then you have to wait the person to processing the things that you are telling something to him, and not otherwise. And yeah, of course you need to talk to somebody, because if you are a security bug bounty hunter or a security researcher, more likely you are not like speaking a lot of people, except when you are doing a work. So at that time you have to speak to somebody. But that has been past the most of the presentation from that side. And what I have learned, this has been a huge jump for me to cybersecurity, because I have done a lot of things. From my background before, I have got into programming from Minecraft, like most of my age. And when you have Minecraft server, you need to open the ports, and then you have running the server, and more like you need the website for the Minecraft server, and then you need the counter for that website, and then you got into cheating, and then the cheat doesn't work, and you have to start hacking. So this has been a lot of different times hacking, what I have done for a couple of years. But it has been really nice, because I've been speaking a lot of people. There can be, even here can be people who I has been speaking with, but I can't like say hi to anybody like you have been in this campaign, because of course the data provided there is not public. And also how hard it is for cybersecurity researchers to take contact for companies and organizations. It's amazed me a little bit, because if the contacting the companies and organizations would be easier, I guess there would be not so much data leaks and data leaks and cybersecurity issues, because they would be taken seriously. Yeah.
Maybe they don't want to be contacted.
Yeah, you're sure, because if you don't see it or know it, it doesn't exist.
Maybe they know it.
Yeah, I don't know. There's multiple kind of reaction what we have got, and also it's really odd. what you can get there. Yeah, about Ketjutonttu, for Finnish-speaking people, I hope that QR code is right. But we have upcoming webinar about more how the companies feel for this. There is not the vendor speaking there, there is the participant organization, and it's free to come. Yeah, it's paid by the taxpayer money, like this presentation, as so. So if you pay the taxes, you should come to get full payment for your tax money. And there's also my handles again. But yeah, this would be a good time for questions because, yeah.
Yes, and if there are any questions, please raise your hand. I will come to you. So somewhere around here. Let's see.
Hi. Did you get into trouble at some point, or did anybody try to sue you or anything like that, legal or whatever?
Yeah, definitely. Even though I haven't done any legal, and in those kind of scenarios when they call me, because my number was in every message what we sent, because I want to be reachable, I basically talk with them, and then when they say that in case we want to send some kind of paper feedback for you, what would be your address? But because this is founded by Huoltovarmuuskeskus and the Traficom is part here, I'm going to Traficom website and giving the post address there, that you can send message there. Traficom will handle it. And that was like the how we made that in this campaign. Where the mic is going.
Okay. So maybe to expand on that, so I was kind of curious to understand what was the kind of the framework that you were working under. So Traficom was the governmental agency that you were working with,
Yeah.
and there were X amount of critical providers or services that essentially wanted to track how their vendors were handling this.
Yeah.
So kind of what's the kind of the legal blessing that you got? Was it so that essentially the critical entities that wanted to see this happen had some kind of a pre-made agreement with their vendors that they can be approached in this way, they can be scanned and so forth? Because in principle, if you're doing proactive scanning without prior authorization, you are potentially breaking the law.
Yeah.
And I think that's something worth highlighting in the Finnish law, that's something you have to think about before you get inspired by this talk and start doing your own scanning.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you can expand on that, how much, what was the kind of the legal framework that you were working under?
Well, the rule for me was that if I found open database from internet, I can tell that you have open database, but I can try to log in on it. It was the thumb of rule. So I can see the stuff, but I can try to attack to them. It was part of everything.
But you don't know, for example, for a fact that the entities that you were essentially working for, these critical providers, whether they had already a pre-existing agreement with their vendors that this may happen, that they may be tested against certain kind of criteria regarding cybersecurity.
Some of the participants did tell their vendors that we are doing this kind of stuff for them, but it was not mandatory in this campaign.
Okay.
So in some case, and those who did was good advertising for us, because that way we did get more participants in this campaign because they get interested in this.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So did you use English in your all communications that you had with the participants?
It depends. Most of the times, yes, because the vendors the participants need to be working in Finnish and in Finland, or in Finland, not in Finnish, in Finland. But the vendors, of course, can be anywhere in the world. So most of the times we did use English, but if the company has Finnish and they have Finnish-speaking websites and the main market area is Finland, and then we did send the Finnish messages. For a couple companies, for different testing reactions, when there is this huge, big global company, we did send the message from their Finnish office or Finland office and in Finnish and see what will happen. And most of the times nothing happened. But yeah, we did use English.
Juho, follow-up questions. What is principles behind of you choosing next victim?
Good question. And for answer for that is more like what comes on my desk, because after we have scanned these vendors, it depends when they were added, because of course the vendors, sooner they are added, the sooner we will get into it. How you choose it? If there's something interesting, the observation to make for that vendor. What is interesting? Okay, that's a good question. There's a lot of stuff. Basically everything else than SSH, SSH, and FTP. Everything else is interesting, and HTTP, they're not interesting. But if you have open remote test protocol or databases, those are really interesting, because mostly times you don't want to keep those open and publicly. For example, that there goes the lane for interesting stuff. I hope that answered your question.
Two-part question. The first one is, have you made sure that your receiving side of your email is working if you are not getting those responses? And the other part is that how successful was getting things fixed after disclosing them to a sales representative?
For first question, we are sure because we have putting down the email filters, so emails are coming through, and of course because we have sent it, we can see what message they are and etc. And second question was, I already forgot it.
Yeah. How successful was getting things fixed after disclosing it to a salesperson?
Yeah, it depends, because the most of times, like, there is these scenarios that when you contact the person and you get a reaction from there, it can take time, and there's multiple cases where they say like, oh, well, that server, we are fixing that on next week, and no worries, and then you're contacting them after 2 weeks, and the things are still same. So the most of times, yeah, but most of times it did take a couple of pushes to get that done.
So I had 2 questions. What is the nature of your research direction at the University of Helsinki? And you asked about like hackers and like if anybody here was a hacker. And why did you ask that question? Because like, and if anybody's not, like, you should lie and say that you are, especially if you're here.
Yeah. Currently, I don't have any like main lane in University of Helsinki. I'm just bachelor student. In master studies, I have been doing data sciences, but I can also change the agronomy because nature is my call. And the work what you do on computer is not real work. It's just like doing stuff on computer, and I wanna do a real work.
Good point on the last one.
Yeah.
So I have a question here.
Where?
Here.
Yeah.
So you're already working with NCS-FI, so did you try delegating the contacting or the dealing with the bad customers with them, or were they just a supporting role, so you could just direct the people to them if there was any issue, or did you have them in the loop, let's say, in the contact loop? So you were using them as some sort of this authority here. So, but did you delegate the contacting also to the center, or did you contact directly as the bad rap company?
Yeah, we did use bad rap name and email addresses when contacting the vendors, and for a couple of times, if I remember right, we did need the help of Traficom in case, because there's something so serious that doesn't get fixed as soon, or there's really like one time there's like this really old server which did have like multiple CVA level 10 problems there, and it had been like misused like more than 5 years, and the server name was like customer data basically. So in that case, of course, we did tell the information.
Okay. Did you think about maybe delegating the scanning also to the government, or did you did it yourself?
Yeah, we did
because
it
you had
of
course you had the authority to do that, but it would be like easier also to delegate to
to the center also?
I don't know what the
No, not easier, but I mean,
Yeah.
easier for yourself,
Yeah.
let's say.
Yeah, on that way, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we did do the scanning ourselves
Okay.
and get data from our data providers.
Yes.